Hey guys, what's up? It's Harrison Richards. For those of you that don't know, I am the founder of Furls, and we're going to do a cool little thing today. We're going to talk about something that's very near and dear to me, which is fiberpreneurship. Fiberpreneurship is just entrepreneurship within the scope of the fiber arts. So if you're a knitter, if you're a crocheter, if you do any kind of handicraft or art involving fiber, this is going to be kind of a little intro to a series that I'm toying with about how to take what you do and turn it into a business, or take entrepreneurial principles and use those as a creative in the work that you do to kind of supercharge your life and your work. Supercharge your life and your work is a cliche in 2020 for sure, and it gets thrown around a lot, but I really do believe that at this point in human history, a lot of the scope of work is fundamentally changing, among other things, hopefully. And we now as human beings have freedom in our work and access and opportunity in our work that we've never had before. Things kind of defined by internet access to information, super readily available platforms for selling and figuring out how to sell and market and then also make. So again, this is just going to be a general series on fiberpreneurship, which is entrepreneurship in the fiber arts. This is kind of a test. This is a first shot. See how you guys like it. If you guys really do like it and you find value out of it, we're going to keep it going, and I'll be doing more of these in the future to kind of go over core principles, what I've learned in taking furls from absolutely nothing, $0 a year as a woodworker in my parents' garage, to the company that it is now 8 years later, with a quickly growing team, over 300,000 products sold, almost 40,000 happy customers in 100 countries around the world. So we've had a staggering amount of growth for being bootstrapped from a tiny little idea that I had as a maker myself. And again, this is just going to be me talking through core principles, what I've learned, hopefully adding value to you guys. My goal here is to see more empowered crocheters, knitters, spinners, fiber artists, to kind of give out for free what I've learned and what I feel like are the kind of keys that most people kind of trip up when they're starting early in their entrepreneurship journey, or just kind of planning, how do I be more creative at work? How do I bring these skills into my workplace and the work that I do? So today we're going to kick off with the Furls story and how that relates to entrepreneurship. And then we're going to go over core principle number 1, which we'll get into that in a bit. And again, please comment, please throw any questions, and then I'll bring those up next time, do a little Q&A maybe, bring some guests on in the future. We're just having fun. We're just seeing how this goes at the moment. Okay, so the Furls story, as it happened to me in my life. I was 18 and I was going to university in Scotland. I'm originally from England. I grew up in the US, went back to the UK, Scotland specifically, for university. And while I was there, first year, 18, I got kind of turned on to, I wasn't studying business, I was studying a really unique degree program called Sustainable Development, but I got turned on to entrepreneurship just kind of randomly, poking through books in the library. And by happenstance, I just kind of fell into this world that I hadn't heard a lot about before, and became obsessed with the idea of entrepreneurship as a vehicle for freedom in a human being's life. And to me, the kind of stereotypical employment structure has some hard boundaries around it that limit human freedom. One of those is time. One of those is location. There's obviously a financial and resource component to it. So when I was reading all this, I thought, wow, entrepreneurs seem to be able to set their own hours, go work where they want to, do the work that they want to, be involved in their passion area, and then also they've got more control over what they're able to make for themselves. All of this really appealed to me. And after my first year at university, I told my parents, hey, I'm thinking of starting a business, can I drop out? And they, which I'm very grateful for to this day, said, yeah, sure, give it a whirl. My premise to them was kind of like, I really don't understand the way that business and commerce and selling and money works. I don't feel like I'm learning that at college. Can I drop out and try to go figure it out on my own? They said yes. You got a year, figure it out. So I took a gap year, took a year off, and in that time started Furls. So I had made crochet hooks on a kind of 1-by-1 basis in high school as a woodworker again. So when I was like 16, 17, I got a lathe, which is a woodworking, it's a power tool, but what it does is it holds a piece of wood horizontally and then spins it really quickly, and then you go at it with a chisel and you can shape whatever kind of round, radially symmetrical object you want on that. And the girl that I dated in high school was a crocheter, so I was introduced to fiber arts there. I also knit in middle and high school. So I started making these crochet hooks, selling them on Etsy, and I was, selling 1 or 2 a month, which as a high schooler I thought was the greatest thing ever. But anyway, by the time that I dropped out of college and come back, I thought, okay, the Etsy crochet thing kind of worked. It gave me a sense that what manufacturers and what makers were providing in fiber arts wasn't what fiber artists actually wanted. So it set that up in my mind of like, there is a real need for better tools in this space. And then I immediately, first thing I did when I got back to Austin, Texas, which is where I grew up in the States, was started work on building this business. What that meant was I was in my parents' garage every single day making crochet hooks from 7 in the morning to 7 at night. I started then learning and reading and exploring the world of online marketing, Facebook marketing, setting up an online store, making perfect product, doing customer service. And it was really funny actually. Within the first 3 days of publishing our online store, we had gotten a wholesale order from Loop in London, which is quite a famous famous British yarn store. Beautiful place, definitely go visit, well worth it. And so that kind of confirmed this thing I had in my head, which was like, wow, if I can, an 18-year-old with no business experience, attract the attention of a really world-renowned store in London and get this big wholesale order within 3 days of launching the store, maybe there's something there. Maybe I should really double down on this and go into it. And that's exactly what I did. And I spent the first probably 1,000, I ran the business for the first 1,000 hooks. So up until we'd sold our 1,000th crochet hook, I was hand making every single one. We just had Alpha Series at this time. Everything was a custom one-off Alpha Series crochet hook. I did total customization on length, width, style, wood. And there was something really beautiful about this, and we'll come back to this when we get to the core principle here, which is that when I was selling on Etsy and when I was selling on our really early Shopify store, I would get an order, figure out, I'd hear from the customer of what they wanted, I'd make it, I'd send the crochet hook to them, and then I'd get this feedback of, hey, I liked this, but it was too wide here, or I really love this hook, but it's too long, or I originally asked for a double-ended crochet hook. That's not what I want. They don't really work as well for me. This is what I want. And it did that over 1,000 customers, 1,000 crocheters, right? So I had 1,000 crocheters, one by one, tell me, this is what I want in a crochet hook. This is what I want in a crochet hook. This is what I want in a crochet hook. And me slowly be able to develop that exact thing for them. So I do that 1,000 times, and then I end up with a pretty clear picture in my mind of like, oh, this is what crocheters want. And I start looking around, and again, I'm reaffirmed that no other crochet hook maker in the world, no manufacturer, no big manufacturer, no little custom manufacturer, maker, is making what crocheters want. So that after the first 1,000 hooks of doing everything by myself, I'm really reaffirmed by this business concept and what in the entrepreneur world is called product market fit. And that is the how well you can integrate the concept you have of a product into what the market wants. And I was like, this is it. This is going to be, there is definitely something here that I can carve out a little company in. And also, while I was doing those 1,000 hooks, again, I was really steeping myself in the knowledge of entrepreneurship, reading every day. Being able to woodwork every day gave me a wonderful opportunity to just plug in some headphones and listen to every single audiobook imaginable on business, marketing, management, teams, design, whatever. I just steeped myself in all of it. And I was doing everything. I was shipping boxes, doing customer service, blah, 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 blah. So I've entirely run the solo operation before. And then it came time for me to hire our first turner, because there's this point in, if you're a maker and you start a business and then you want to transition that into, rather than you just being a maker, which is fine, into an actual business, and the business is kind of an organism on its own outside of you, then you kind of have to hire people. And this is because your time is not scalable, right? And this kind of gets thrown around as another entrepreneur cliche, but it's very true, which is, I quickly realized Furls was getting more popular and popular, and there was a limit on that, and that limit was my time, because I was getting faster. I could make a crochet hook in, I think maybe 12 minutes was my fastest ever to make a single alpha series, but there was still only, even with that speed, there was a limited number of hooks I could make in a day, and our demand was growing past that. So I thought, I have to remove myself from this operation in some capacity, because otherwise I'm bottlenecking, I'm chokeholding the amount of crochet hooks that we can deliver to crocheters that need them. So I brought on our first turner who made Alpha Series hooks alongside me. And I cannot stress enough how much kind of mental and psychological anguish it caused me to make that first hire. And I probably should have made that hire 6 months earlier, but I didn't make that hire until probably 12 or 18 months into running the business. Because as a maker, and I'm sure you guys will understand this, as makers and artists yourselves, there's this idea of perfection that you have in your mind about quality, of there's a way, I like the way that I do it. I like the way that I make this thing. No one else is going to be able to do that, or maybe they can do it, but it's going to take so long to explain and get that point across that it almost is just better if I just do it. And one of my big challenges in this series is going to be for you guys to step outside your comfort zone, get over that. Again, it is a little bit of the artist's egoism telling them no one else in the world can do what you do. Maybe it's true to some extent, but also don't doubt the intelligence, creativity, and competence of other people, especially artistic people. And I am almost always pleasantly surprised by everyone that we've hired at Furls so far, that they are actually way better than me at the thing that they are hired to do. This is a very famous Bill Gates quotes, although it probably gets falsely attributed to people all over the internet, which is, when you hire people that are better than you. Some of you might be not even in the stage of hiring or even thinking about hiring. You might not even have an idea yet. That's totally fine. But keep this in mind, that businesses as organisms grow when you replace the kind of thresholds or the limits on human time, right? So like my limit on my time was something that was capping Furls. I took myself out, I replaced it with another person. That allowed us to grow, because I was then able to turn around and focus on more marketing, more business operations, making this all run smoother, focusing on growth. So that's kind of core principle number 1 here, which is that hiring people frees up your time. Businesses as organisms are structures of people working and freeing time and providing value. And then core principle number 2, which is specifically for all the perfectionist, artist, creator, maker, designer, fiberpreneurs out there. I challenge you to let go some of that need to hold on to every drop of perfectionism. I double dog dare you, just see if other people can do it, even 80% as well as you, because that's still better than all of your time being tied up. And I guarantee, there are 8 billion people on the planet. There's probably someone that can do it better than you. No offense, that's a great thing. That's a great thing, is to be able to go in and find that person and then bring them into your vision. And to me, that's the goal. That's the job of the entrepreneur, is to have the vision for the product market fit, for the value, for the change they want to see in the world, whatever that is, and then enable that through other people, bring people in together on that vision. And that's what I try to do every day, which is bring in our team members into the shared vision of making the best fiber arts tools in the world. And this is going to be kind of the ending note today. This is kind of note number 1 in this entire series, which is be the best. Another cliche, but be the best. The reason for that is there is so much stuff, I'll use as a nice word, that gets sold in the world. The world does not need more stuff. And you, as an artist, are in a unique position to create something that goes beyond stuff. You can create something of material significance. You can create something of beauty. You can create something of ergonomic or visual value in someone's life. You can bring someone joy through their passion, and that's worthy, and that's better than just making more stuff. So be the best is the antithesis of just find something to sell. Figure out what you do well, go and turn that into your business. Or if you want to flip that, of how you use that in your work, figure out what you really, really do well, and then use your work as a vehicle for bringing that into the world. And maybe you've got a terrible boss and they are just not open to hearing about your ideas, but I'm going to challenge you again. Go to your boss and say, hey, here's an idea I have about how I can bring something I'm really good at that you didn't even know about into what we do, and I think it's really going to, attract this group or make our product better or XYZ, whatever. So be the best. That's kind of core principle number 1 here. Now, a little corollary on be the best. If no one else is making the thing that you're making, by default you are the best out there, right? And this was the situation that I was in with Furls. Is I realized, hey, the only people making crochet hooks at scale at that time were companies that just kind of mass manufactured aluminum stamped sheet metal crochet hooks that got anodized, and that's what you go see in big box retailers. I want to do something more than that, because I knew that the passion that crocheters had, like all artists, for what they did was bigger than what they were buying from big box retailers, and it was bigger than what manufacturers were making for them. So I thought, I'm gonna make the tool that represents the love that these people have for the thing that they do, and I think that will click. And it did. And because no one else was doing that, we were the best by default, which is a really great place to be in. And I'm gonna end this with 3 areas that I've noticed that I think crocheters and knitters have kind of an immediate be the best in, because people want it. No one else is doing it really, really well right now. Or very few people are doing it really well. No one's really trying. No one's bringing the full scope of the expertise that a fiber artist could bring. So here are my 3 kind of opportunity areas for fiber artists right now. One is crochet swimwear. So this has been around a while. This is trending a little bit right now, but I have not seen a single designer that stands out as like, I am the crochetpreneur swimwear designer. There are some really great ones out there. Don't get me wrong. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, where is the brand that's been built around a single crocheter defining a new scope for crochet swimwear? I haven't seen it yet. Maybe I'm totally wrong. Or how about this? Comment if you know someone who is that crocheter. Comment them in the comments here, or shoot us an email, or DM me, and I'll get them on this, and then we can have a chat about how they did it, where they see it going, how they built their own fiberpreneur business. But crochet swimwear, huge area of opportunity. It's trending right now. Big brands are getting into it, in terms of you go to Target and you see it, but no one's done the kind of ground up revisioning of how a crocheter could bring the best to swimwear, I think. And then taking that idea to full business. Second is custom high-end knitwear. So this is kind of opposite end of the design fashion season spectrum. So rather than summery stuff, this is wintry stuff. When people think fine knitwear, they probably go to a high-end retailer, high-end boutique, and they go buy a cashmere sweater, and that's that. But I think what people want, especially in 2020, one of the big trends in commerce and shopping right now is personalization and customization. And I haven't seen a knitter or a crocheter carve out the space of, if you want a cashmere sweater that no one else is making, come to us. If you want cables on a sweater that no one else is making, come to us. There are certainly crocheters and knitters that can do it, but they haven't built, again, that I've seen the roadmap for the people who want it to come get connected to them on a big level. And if you know that person, again, comment them. If you are that person with that idea, comment, DM me, whatever. We'll get you on this. We'll do a little brainstorm. We'll pull it all out. I think that would be great for the audience to see. So yeah, those are 2 of the 3. And then the third kind of final area of what I think is low-hanging fruit for fiberpreneurs is, what are patterns that no one else is making right now that are perfect for pulling beginners into the fiber arts? You know, sometimes you go to like Target or Barnes & Noble and you see those little kits, and it's like all Star Wars amigurumi or all Disney character or Harry Potter amigurumi or whatever. It's like, there's someone who's thinking, people love crochet, we just have to turn non-crocheters into crocheters, and they think the right vehicle for that is Harry Potter, Disney, Star Wars, whatever they're selling. Maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong. The thing I haven't seen is a crocheter or a knitter make the kit for total beginners that uses the patterns to empower the beginner to really fall in love with the craft. Because there is a learning curve with crochet knitting. I mean, it requires a specific part of the brain, it requires patience, it requires learning, it'll stretch you. You gotta stick to it a little bit. So how do you incentivize someone with a pattern to really get into that and kind of take it up and make that worth it for them to get through the learning curve. That's super valuable, obviously, because those kits sell in Barnes and Noble every single day. But I'm yet to see a crocheter or knitter find the patterns that aren't some branded Disney thing to bring that to life. So I'm waiting on that. Again, if you know any of those, comment them. We'll get them on here. And then would love to pick their brain, chat about how they did it, and talk more about fiberpreneurship. Otherwise, I'm going to wrap this up. A ton of fun for me. If you guys liked it, please show me some love. Send me a DM, send Furls a DM. Let me know what you thought. Let me know what you'd like to do next time. If you know someone who should be on this, be interviewed, get a free consult, let's do it. Let's bring them on. Let's talk about fiberpreneurship. I want to open the conversation about turning passions into livelihoods for crocheters, knitters, and all fiber artists. It's what I've done. I built a brand around it. I built a beautiful team around it. I love what I do every single day, and I want to empower you guys to do the same.